Today, on the early morning show,
the science of women's contempt for men.
Good morning and welcome to the early morning show. Before I go on any further, make sure you smash that like button, share this video with a friend, and subscribe to the channel. So, today's juicy topic is the science of women's contempt for men. And we all know that a lot of women do have contempt for men. Now today I hope to dispel excuses as to why women slap, punch, shoot, kill, hate, or badmouth men in general. Now this show is important for any person who has long tried to understand why society tries to justify negative behavior on female side as possibly something as a man deserved it. Or perhaps you are tired of hearing the cover story of she did what she had to do in order to defend herself. And we all know that's a lie. Now if we continue to justify female aggression while we demonize the same in men, we continue to perpetrate a social double standard between the genders. But real science mind you, tells us that both genders are virtually the same in the way they mete out hatred and aggression towards one another. They are virtually the same. Now the science of the brain will show you that there is a very, very small difference between men's and women's brain functionality and activity. Very small difference. Now sure, women use the right side of the brain and favor more of the prefrontal cortex, the orbifrontal cortex, the superior temporal cortex, and the lateral parietal cortex and insula. Sure. And men on the other side, they favor more or predominantly draw from the left side of the brain and accentuate larger in the inferior parietal lobal, the ventral temporal, and occipital regions of the brain. But these differences are volume size in the brain, but not absent in either brain. They still are virtually the same. Now, knowing that the brain between both are virtually the same, you might be asking what scientific hypothesis shows female aggression for men? And it was actually in the answer I just gave you. Both genders are the same. That means that there is neither a male brain or a female brain. So in the future, when somebody comes to you and says she shot her husband in self-defense, she shot her husband because she was an asshole, and she planned that murder out. So it doesn't matter if you're a male who does that or a female, you'll plan it out the same way. When a woman hits a guy with a stick, or she uses bleach on his clothes or keys his car, with malice, that is the same brain that a male would have. You see, there's neither male or female brain. Sure, women have a higher level of estrogen and men have a higher level of testosterone, but it's still working at the same brain. You can present them with the same idea and they may come up with different conclusions on how to meet that idea, but it is the same human brain. There's not a female brain, there's not a male brain. And for a lot of people who dismiss female aggression against men, lose the sight of the fact that women go to college in these days and actually excel in male studies that are originally designed for males. Because there is no male or female brain, just a brain. So those guys wrote those books hundreds of years ago, up to yesterday, in college, or to a doctorate degree. They just wrote out facts and knowledge. So females can go to the exact same school, even though they claim to be emotional, and be excellent in those skills because there is no male or female brain. Thus, when committing a crime, drunk driving, shooting your husband in the back of the head, stabbing an individual, cheating him out of his wealth, having a child when he said he did not want a child, it is the exact same brain. So now this leads me to the fact of why do women have a desire to hate men, right? Now we all see women that are very loving to each other, almost in an insane way. Women will kiss each other on the mouth, hug face to face, breast to breast, sit across from each other from a restaurant, which men won't do, sit beside each other in a theater, which men won't do, visit each other all times a day and all times a night, stay on the phone 24 hours a day, which men won't do. So one would ask the question, how can a woman be so loving to her own gender and then so hateful to the opposite gender? Because if you have love for one, you should just go to the other one. It would be more believable if the male was hateful and then had hate for females, you see? But if she already has the skill, why don't she just transfer it to a male? And it comes back to the fact that both brains are the same. So let's imagine for 1 minute that both brains are male. So if a woman is in a female's body and she hates a male, it's the same male brain. Hate is hate. Okay, either fight, flight, or freeze mentality in both genders. Hypothalamus rules that in both genders. So when a woman hates a man, the brain is the same as if she were a man. When she loves her girlfriend or her friend, human beings love their friends more than they love their enemies. A man can hate another man with that brain. You put that same brain in a woman's head, she can hate another man with that brain. Not because he's a man, but strictly because she sees him historically as an enemy. She was taught since she was a little girl, males are our enemies. This occurs in groups where people will tell black citizens that whites brought them over here on ships as slaves. Now you tell it to a little child who was born yesterday in 2023, by the time he's an adult, it don't make sense because he did not actually come over on a ship. But it tears down what he thinks about himself, and it tears down what he thinks about the opposite race. And this opportunity, it is what women have been told since little girls, born in 2023, 18 years from now, about males' hatred. So you can actually train somebody to hate males. Same brain. See, it's not, women are not nicer than men. Don't let science fool you. Both are the same. You don't believe so? In Arlington National Cemetery, which exists in Arlington, Virginia, close to where I was born in Washington, D.C., one of the largest national cemeteries in the United States, covers several acres, was once the property of the general who went with the South for the Civil War. So as punishment, the North captured his land, his plantation, and they made that the cemetery. And today, Arlington National Cemetery is actually larger than some of your small towns, but it's all military grounds for burials. Now, if we were to say females are nicer than men, why is that cemetery covered in so many young men's bodies that gave their lives in the Revolutionary War, in the Civil War, in the First World War, in the Korean War, in the Second World War, in Desert Storm, in the war that we had when we returned to Iraq and Afghanistan, and whatever war we're going to craft tomorrow? How can a young man give his life that you may live? See, a lot of people don't want to miss next year's TV season. But if you go to Arlington National Cemetery, there's been people there since the Revolutionary War, Spanish-American War. All those kids gave up that next year's season. And they did that for free, they did it for you. But we don't have cemeteries like that for females. Males go into fires. And they're not even firefighters, they risk their lives to jump in the water to save little babies and children, and women out of trapped cars. So who can we actually say is loving? Actually, neither. The human brain is the human brain, which leads me to the next part. Socialization is what takes over beyond gender. Sure, there's a male gender, sure, there's a female gender, but after that, it's just socialization. So society is scared since the beginning of the time that women won't grow up to be females. They think the females will grow up to be masculine. So as soon as a girl is born and she's small enough, they throw a baby doll in her hand, they put a little oven in her hand, a little plastic oven, they give her a little plastic pink dollhouse with the back cut out because they're trying to groom her into being a female. Left to her own devices, by the time she got an adult woman, she'll be just as masculine as a male. The same thing they do to males. They get little boys and they try to socialize them towards being a grown man so they can take care of a woman, take care of society, die for a country, do horrific construction work, whatever it takes to keep that society going. So we socialize the two different genders that way since the beginning of time. Only recently have we told people there's multi-genders. We try to socialize them whatever we can in them, but that is really easy to do because the brain and the male and female is malleable. Remember, a female crosses her legs because society says cross your legs with your dresser. That's society. That's socialization. That's not naturally born in a little girl. You let a little girl be born, she won't do that. She'll have her legs wide open. You have a little boy, he'll be selfish. He won't think about the entire society. He won't die in a war for society. So today, it's easy to, with the human brain is so malleable, to convince a little boy that he can easily act like a female or female to easily act like a male, because there is no set rules for the genders born naturally. In the human anatomy, now in animals, they know the difference. When they're created with everything in them. A little baby bird, when it flies off from its mother, by the time it's an adult, without any kind of practice, it knows how to make a nest, it knows how to raise its own, it knows what kind of food to hunt for. Even when a sparrow is sick, it knows what to get. Instead of worms, we get this type of grub, this type of grass. But humans, you have to be trained that. So the human brain is malleable. So if you're considered today about all of this genders, 156 genders, it's just because human brain, there is no set stone way to act. Because in that one brain that's given to males and females alike equally, one may have a higher fear center in a female. The males may have a better mapping sense than a female. Female may lean towards emotional sense. But I don't even believe that, where a female will purposely shoot her husband in the back of the head in the middle of the night while he's asleep. You don't believe so? Watch our Killer Wives series on this channel, and you will see scores, thousands of people, thousands of women across the globe each year shoot their husband in his sleep with a gun to the back of the head, or poison him, get him ran over, whatever it may be. So females commit crimes to the same extent as men do, and society refuses to see this. Society wants you to think, oh, she's too soft, there's no way she could do that. Actually, when they kill her husbands, the first thing the police officer and everybody think, there's no way she could do that. I knew her, she was so soft. That's because a lot of people act nicer outside of their house than they ever do in their house. So once again, the science that women hate men is because that women hate just as equally as men, because women have males' brains in their head. Both genders have the same brain. You don't believe so? RuPaul could act like a woman better than any woman you've ever seen in your entire life. Whereas a female can act like a male and not give a damn the same way. Socialization. So, for the early morning show, until we see you again, see ya!
Living in my own world. 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 Open state of mind.
California dreaming.
Open state of mind.
California scheming.
Open state of mind.
California is the reason for this golden state of mind.
Living in my own world.
California dreaming. California scheming. California is the reason for this golden state of mind.
Open mind and refine what you've been missing. Please don't waste my time and never try to tell me different. There I go again, ignoring my own advice. But take my word for it, man, I've been living nice. Like the bottom of some skis on a January morning. Up in Aspen sipping cocoa. I prefer my women foreign. Don't disturb me if I'm snoring, let me be. Cause you gotta get your rest to be a king. I would not expand your mind, girl, you too fine not to. Don't let me leave with someone that is not you.